All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another A Million or the Move or the Moon live stream. Sorry, folks, I'm thinking about multiple things right now. I'm juggling a couple things here. Give me a second. Sorry, folks, I'm thinking about multiple. Okay. Sorry, folks. Bear with me. I am still getting up. Normally, we have Messin to help produce things, but he's been on administrative leave pending an internal investigation of use of company funds. $5 goes missing here and there. All of a sudden he's put on leave. So for those of you wondering why it's just solo me for the moment, that is indeed why. So, oh my God, what a terrible time for this to happen. I was good. Anyways, folks, look, welcome everyone. Look, in this live stream, I kind of want to have a honest conversation, an honest, open dialogue with y'all as to exactly what factors it takes to outperform the market. Because look, in the last couple of videos, I've been kind of throwing out things that just kind of come to mind as to what it takes to outperform the market. But I've never really quite written it down and kind of thought about the order of things and how to structure things and how to list exactly what factors are more important over others. So that's what I want to do in this video. I want to take a moment to kind of jot down literally on a list and maybe talk with you guys as to exactly what it takes to outperform the market. Now, I was about to play music, but this is not being cooperative with me. So, okay, just give me a second. You know what? I have a better solution. Hold on. In the meanwhile, folks, if you want to like and subscribe, hit that bell icon to be notified of new uploads. I'd appreciate it. And believe me, I will start delving into some of the good stuff here. I'm just kind of getting set up here. I feel bad because I was late. This was supposed to go live at 4. It's 4:30, so I didn't want to keep delaying it. I'm still just sort of getting set up here on my end, folks. Bear with me. This is a low budget production. But how's everyone doing? Let's read some of the comments over here. Boofo on the beat. What up, man? Good to see you. John May. What up? What up? Jen Hacks, what's up, man? I don't know if you're still in the live stream here, but it's good to hear from you. By the way, folks, we will be live streaming with Jen Hacks this Saturday. Messin will hopefully be on that as well. He said he would be, so we got that to look forward to. Hey guys, MJ Money's in the house. The Coin Critic, what's up, man? Wow, you scared the shit out of me. Forgot I was waiting. I hate that like button, folks. Yes, indeed. The watch top is in. Richard called that. That is, in fact, extremely important. I'm glad you brought that up, BB Miles, because I'm hoping to buy myself a Rolex, maybe if PulseChain does well. So, kind of like to celebrate myself potentially making my first million. I kind of like the idea of buying a Rolex upon making the first million. And they kind of do, keep their value well. So, if I ever wanted to sell it, I definitely could. So yeah, something to consider. Gary J is saying, "How's it going, Brandon? Did you make amends with?" Through the cryptographics, he really thought you were a troll. Surprised he didn't know who you were, guys. So this is Gen Hex is in the house. Thanks, man. What's up? So guys, yeah, there was this really funny guys. So look, I've been reaching out to different people within the community because I just like getting people's different points of views. And it's always people can learn off each other, right? So anyways, I saw this like Hex YouTubers channel cryptographics, and I was like, oh, this guy does like good shit. So like, I was like, I'll pop into his live stream or whatever and kind of say what up. But I don't know. I was like being sarcastic and I was like trolling, and I thought he would like pick up on it because like in my mind it's like, oh, I'm being like so absurd that it's obvious that he's gonna recognize that like I'm just like I'm kidding around, but like I'm just some random person. Like he doesn't know who I am. He doesn't know like my sense of humor. So I think he thought I was being like serious, and so I was like kind of saying some. I was like trolling, and he was. He didn't realize it was a joke. He took me seriously, and so I'm trying to find it right now because it's kind of hilarious. I want to show you guys exactly what he said. Bear with me. If you guys want, like, I'll take a second. I'll pull it up. It's legitimately very funny. It's just gonna take me a second because I just gotta find it. Okay, and by the way, I tweeted at him after the live stream saying like, "Hey man, my bad for being like sarcastic. Yeah, you're producing good content. I'd like to talk to you sometime." And he said, "Hey, no problem. We're just figuring each other out." He said he'd be willing to talk sometime. So like it all worked out, but it was just kind of funny how I kind of trolled the guy. And here, I'll pull it up here. Give me a second, folks. Give me 1 second. Oh, this is pretty funny. Hold on. I gotta share my screen too. Give me 1 second here, folks. Share screen. Window. This. Hopefully you guys can hear the audio. Let me know if you can hear this audio. Can you guys hear that? Let me know if you guys can hear this in the comments. Now you guys can hear this? Okay, well, shit. Hold on. Oh, this is embarrassing. Okay, let me look up his crypto GRFX. Yeah, I'm trying to. Yeah, there's no audio. How do I get this to share system audio? Give me 1 second here. Ladies and gentlemen, you need to forgive me. This is again a low budget operation. Let me see if I can share my system audio. Because this is legitimately pretty funny. All right, folks, we'll delve into the serious stuff here in a second, but this was funny, so thought it might be worthwhile sharing this with you. Settings, audio, nothing for system audio. I need Bufo. I need some like sound engineer to help me figure this out. Default speakers, nothing for system audio. Huh. Yeah, audio is just too low. Yeah, folks, give me 1 second here. If anything, I'll just like pull it up on my phone and I don't know if we can do it that way. So you guys can hear the audio. Because guys, I know like I'm delaying this, but I find it pretty funny. So if you give me a second here, I'll just pull it up. All right, so let's see if I can line this up with my phone and what you guys are saying. If you give me a second, folks, this will be worth it, I promise you. All right, so this is kind of lined up. 2341. Hold on here. 20. All right, whatever. Just listen up.
I stacked for PulseChain, and now I'm up all night worrying about my future. Although they had a information leak in the past, they're secure up till now, to the best of my knowledge. aMillionortheMoon says, I need financial advice. I stacked for PulseChain, and now I'm up all night worrying about my future gains. I was looking forward to not caring about price, but Richard Hart stole that from me. Okay, hold on. Let's back this up here. I stacked for PulseChain, so you made a decision, and now you're up all night worrying about your future gains. I was looking forward to not caring about price, but Richard Hart stole that from me. I don't understand why you're saying Richard Hart stole it. You made the decision to sacrifice, my friend. You need to be accountable for your own actions. All right?
Can you guys hear that?
Sacrificing. That's why it's called sacrificing. And I'm not trying to come down hard on you, but I got to be realistic with you, my friend.
Anyways, yeah, I don't know if you can hear that.
Right? Oh,
anyways, guys, whatever. I just thought it was kind of funny. I said hi wrong, okay? Like I was just trying to be funny. And anyways, yeah. So that was that. Hope that was worth it. I kept commenting too because I was later like, oh man, I'm just kidding, and I think he put me in timeout. But anyways, guys, I reached out to him. I said, sorry for being sarcastic. I asked him if he'd want to stream sometime. He said he's open to it. So it'd be nice to have him on the channel sometime. So yeah, that's that. Brandon, you pushed the Canadian too far, lol. Hey, I'm Canadian too, man, so that's great. So hopefully we can reconcile over the fact that we're Canadian. So that's that. That's that. Anyways, guys, look, go like and subscribe to Crypto Graphics. Good guy, puts out good content. So he didn't pick up on my sarcasm, but that's okay. He's a complete stranger, so what does he know, right? So anyways, that was kind of funny. And it wasn't even just that later I kept commenting, and it was just more of that. So unfortunately, folks, because I can't line up the audio, I don't want to show you any more than just that. But yeah, no, that's how I've been reaching out to people. So that's that. We could take maple shots together for sure. Brizology, what's up, man? Yeah, so yeah, hopefully, we can take, maple syrup shots together and just reminisce over the fact that we're Canadian, and that'll kind of tie down the hatches. I think we're good. I mean, I messaged him and, he was like a cool guy afterwards. It's my bad. I was just trolling. So, my bad. So anyways, Jen Hacks is saying, send him a flannel for Boxing Day and all good. Yeah, I'll do something like that. I'll send him a flannel, or I'll just send him yeah. We'll have to figure something out. Yeah, hopefully we can do a stream together sometime. Now, something else I was thinking as well, because another reason why I want to start reaching out to people, something I've been considering is specifically when PulseChain goes live, I've been playing around with the idea of doing something like a 24-hour live stream. And kind of reaching out to different people, bringing them on, having them share their ideas, like what they think this means for the greater market, what PulseChain is going to do, that kind of thing. So, so yeah, that's why I kind of been reaching out to different people. PulseChain Hex Game is saying that was hilarious taking your troll that stream. I knew exactly who you were. Yeah, that was pretty funny because I kept going too, guys. Like it wasn't just that, but like I don't want to keep going here because you guys can't hear the audio. But there was more. There was like another message, and I think it was me and Jen Hacks were going like back and forth in the comments. Yeah, there was like another comment here where it said, I just don't think it's fair that I'm now forced to consider what to do with all these future gains. Hashtag scan confirm. And he was just saying like, don't pay attention to these trolls, this like non-intelligent comments. Because guys, I don't know how many of y'all caught the one that one live stream Richard did with those Bitcoin maximalists, where the Bitcoin guy was like, "Oh, I don't care about price. I don't worry about price." I'm like, "Wow, this guy doesn't care about price. It's amazing." And so I was gonna tell him like, Richard Hart stole that from me, where I didn't want to care about price either. But now since I'm in Hex and PulseChain, I'm now forced to care about price, and it's frankly a scam. I now have to take time to like think about what to do with all these gains, and I was very concerned. And so I was sharing my concern with cryptographics. Anyways, guys, he's a good guy. That was funny. But let's go on here to some of the good stuff. So guys, like I said before, I'll be streaming with Jen Hex this Saturday. Looking forward to that. So also, it's gonna be interesting I would like to see if I can ask Jen Hex some of what I am hoping to talk about right now, which is share kind of my thoughts as to what the fuck it takes to outperform the market. Because look, folks, again, I'm in crypto for mad gains. All right. How do you get mad gains? You need to outperform the market. Because if you look at what the majority of the market does, especially recently during this kind of crab market, sideways market, if you're looking at what most others looking at, Bitcoin, Ethereum, Cardano, basically the top 20 in terms of market cap, you see on like CoinGecko and CoinMarketCap, you're going to get what's called average market returns. And average market returns is not going to change the lives of most people, financially speaking, unless you're already rich. If you have $5 million and you make 10%, that's pretty fantastic. I mean, you could live off that. Now, if you have $1,000 and you make 5%, I mean, it's great, you turn a profit, but you're not going to retire on that. For normal working class, average middle class people, for most people, if you want financial freedom, if you want to be able to retire on investing, you really got to do something dramatic. You need a 50x, 100x, 1000x. That kind of return on investment for the average person can bring financial freedom. And so while there's no perfect recipe for finding that, there are sets of rules that I have found can better lead to finding that investment opportunity. And so I kind of wanted to run through this list and even, bounce ideas off you guys if you have any here in the comments as to, what are the goddamn factors necessary to outperform the market. So yeah, that's kind of what I have in mind. Yeah, so let's see what you guys are saying. Toxic, back in your cage. Who let you out? Yeah, Toxic, what are you doing? I could take lessons from you on trolling. I mean, I was really concerned with all these future gains. So, folks, look, like I've been mentioning earlier, actually, before we delve into the stuff, I think it's important to understand what's going on with the greater market here. All right, Bitcoin is kind of shitting the bed. We're getting rejected off the 50-day simple moving average, historically very important moving average. We're going to retest our kind of lower support boundaries here and see if we hold line. Ethereum's not looking too hot as well. And if we take a look at the greater market, the S&P 500 is very much so shitting the bed. And right now we're looking at a weekly chart. And every single time we've had a weekly candle close below our exponential moving average, except this one exception over here. Historically speaking, we had much further downside. Look at this. A weekly candle close below, much further downside. Weekly candle close below, much further downside. Weekly candle close below, downside. Weekly candle close below, downside. And so, again, while this is just one example of defining support / resistance, what this does tell me is that this is telling us that we have reached a point of greater risk where the possibility of further downside has greatly increased. And it's not just that. We have the DXY, the Dixie, which is the dollar index, also pumping as well, which is kind of, to my understanding, is understood as a safe haven asset when traditional stocks are doing poorly. The dollar typically rises. If we're looking at crypto, we see that the market is incredibly fearful right now. Not the most fearful we've ever been, but it is fearful. And so basically what I'm trying to get across here, folks, is that we are looking at a sea of shit. Everything is shit. Stocks, I mean, you make 5-10% a year, everything's down right now. Crypto typically outperforms, but we're looking very bad right now. This looks to me, this whole pattern of an ascending channel here looks to me like a potential dead cat bounce, a potential bear flag, especially if we lose 37,500. So, folks, things are looking really shit right now. It's very hard to find a good place to put your money. And so I kind of want to, share with you guys that I'm so relieved to be in PulseChain and PulseX and Hex, because those are one of the very few places in this market in which I feel optimistic, in which it isn't doom and gloom, where everything else is literally crashing and burning. The S&P, Bitcoin, this all looks like dog shit. But when PulseChain and PulseX comes out, not only are we decorrelated based off the liquidity pairs, but there's also a track record of new products being psychologically decorrelated from the rest of the market. And so it is such a privileged place to be, being in PulseChain and PulseX. And not just for that one set of factor, but for, I think I've kind of narrowed down 10 or 11 sets of factors that I think can lead one to find an investment opportunity with the potential to outperform the greater market. And then something I'd like to do an exercise with you guys live here. Just place PulseChain, PulseX, Hex, Cardano, and XRP in kind of this chart here, and then see which of these cryptocurrencies are early at a good valuation, are addressing a large addressable market with the ability to actually pull it off, and kind of just see how they stack up against each other. So I kind of did this on the fly, folks. So we'll see how this goes. So to kind of begin here, I want to just start listing exactly what factors and start thinking with you guys what factors lead to outperform the market, and create a list here. And I want to kind of refine this list because ultimately, look, this is the kind of thing I can fucking, I don't know, turn into a book or just something that you can market to people to help them out. So look, number one of the most important things I've found, and many of us will agree, of course, is that getting in early matters. Now, what does getting in early mean? Well, one thing you can do, and something I've done very often, is if you look at something like Etherscan, and if you look up whatever token you like, so let's look up Shiba, for example, and I'll share my screen in a second. You could literally see exactly how many token holders there are of this token. So we can see that there's 1.1 million Shiba token holders. Now let's look up something like Doge and see how Doge compares. Run Doge, the Doge. Do we seriously not have Dogecoin here? Because Dogecoin's not on ERC20. Yeah, my bad. Fuck, what's something comparable? All right, now I know a better example. So Band Protocol, which is a Oracle on the Ethereum network, kind of a competitor to Chainlink. Let's see how many holders we have here. We have 30,000 Band Protocol holders. Now let's look up Chainlink, which I know is near ERC20. And let's see how many holders we have here. And comparing the two can give us a sense of valuation, how early something is. Wow, look at that. So Chainlink has 659,000 unique wallets holding that token, compared to something like Band Protocol, which is, again, an Oracle competitor to Chainlink, only has 30,000. So being able to judge exactly how many wallets hold the token is one way of being able to evaluate whether you're early on something or not. So, if comparing something like Band to Chainlink, you could perhaps make the case based off this one factor that Band Protocol is extremely undervalued compared to something like Chainlink. Because let's say they're going after the same market and they're able to perhaps actually succeed in getting a similar market size to each other. Well, then Band Protocol is arguably extremely undervalued given how few people are holding it compared to Chainlink. But that's just one metric of defining whether or not you're early. What else can you look for? You look for how long it's been out in trading for. So that's super simple. Literally, how long has it been out in live for? And the longer it's been out in live for, arguably speaking, although there is much nuance to this, potentially the lower the return on the investment is. Because I don't know if you guys have ever seen kind of this adoption S-curve chart, but this kind of just shows you how, while there's nuance to this, there is a correlation between how early you are and potential return on investment. Because how early you are determines how many people are in that investment compared to how many people could potentially get. Is there anything else that we can include into how to define whether or not you're early into something or not? Let's see what you guys are saying in the comments. Boof on the Beat is saying hydrate. Absolutely. John May is saying, what do you use to view your charts? I use TradingView, although TradingView doesn't have everything. So for kind of those low cap gems, I use Dex tools as well as chartx.pro. What else are you saying? The Coin Critic is saying how to outperform the market. Your metrics all look good, but the key metric, majority whales get bigger over time, but they use profit to buy back in and don't sell. Berkshire Hathaway example. Yes, that is a very, very good thing to bring up. Now, so I think I would summarize your point as to basically wrap up your point by saying whales. What are the whales within the ecosystem? And I wonder if you would include that under something like tokenomics here. Whales in the system. Yeah, I think I would include that under tokenomics. So leave that there for now. And again, guys, like I'm literally just thinking out loud here with you guys. That's what the stream is. That's all. Because I want to continue to hash out this idea, and because I was only thinking like I could maybe even one day turn this into a book, where like each one of these are chapters. And so I just want to begin just hashing out this idea more and more and more, and then keep delving into the nuance more and more. And who knows, maybe even one day put out a book. So I'm just thinking aloud here with you guys. Okay, so that's that. Now something else incredibly important to consider is getting in at a good valuation. Some of the things I keep in mind when trying to understand whether or not I'm getting in at a good valuation is how far I am from all-time highs and all-time lows. So looking at something like Hex here, if we measure how far down Hex is from all-time highs, I mean, we're down 75% from all-time highs. Folks, you have always gotten paid, historically speaking, for buying 75% corrections in crypto on cryptos that have long-term staying potential. So, if you have a kind of a 5-year, 10-year, even a 2-year time horizon, I believe, personally, I'll speak for myself, that buying a 75% correction will inevitably be highly profitable. Now, the question is, what about the short term? Because in the short term, there can definitely be more pain as well. Now, while there are a lot of lines here, I want to try and kind of declutter what's going on here for you guys. Yeah, I don't want to declutter this too much. Okay, so folks, ultimately speaking, to make things clear with what I think is going on with Hex, I think we need Hex to spend time above 16 cents for us to kind of think that Hex has now formed a higher high, and therefore the short-term uptrend is continuing. Once Hex, starts to hold 16 cents, then I can be much more bullish. Should we start to break down from 12 cents here, which I do believe is an inflection point? I mean, over here, look how price reactive that was, folks. I mean, 12 cents continues to be a bedrock of support / resistance. Should we start to lose 12 cents, then, I think that conversation of 8-7 cents starts to become much more realistic. So to kind of clarify things, 12 cents, I think, is the inflection point. 16 cents is what we need to get above if we want the downtrend to be over, because in that point we have continuation of higher highs. And then if we kind of break down from 12 cents, well, that's 7-8 cents becomes more realistic. So that's that. See what else you guys are saying. John May saying, "Oh, we are early as fuck in all rich art projects." Absolutely. Like, if we consider PulseChain, PulseX, and Hex and how early they are, PulseChain and PulseX are earlier than Hex in the sense that they're not even out yet. But the thing that makes Hex early to me, even though it's been out for 2 years and has already had a massive parabolic uptrend, the reason why I would consider something like Hex to be even earlier than something like Cardano or XRP is because Hex has been widely dismissed from the greater market. Bitboy Crypto, Elio Trades, Crypto Banter, I view those guys as basically what the market is thinking, what the average person in the market in crypto is thinking, and they never, ever, ever talk about Hex. And if you come to the conclusion that they're wrong for doing so, they're wrong for dismissing Hex, well, then there's a dichotomy there, and with a dichotomy comes extreme opportunity, which is one of the reasons why I'm so bullish on Hex. How will Russian-Ukraine war affect PulseChain? I don't think it will, except to the extent that it will affect the stock market, which will affect Bitcoin. And look, it's another thing as well. Like, again, guys, like correlation. I have correlation written down here. Yes. How does it compare to its competition, and what is it correlated to? Correlation is something extremely important to understand, because a lot of Hex people and PulseChain people, PulseX people, they really like to promote the fact that Hex is largely decorrelated from the rest of the market due to its liquidity largely being in stablecoins, which makes it kind of non-reactive to the moves of Bitcoin and Ethereum. And while that is true, folks, we got to understand that ultimately all of crypto, largely speaking, while there is nuance to that, is correlated with Bitcoin. Because if Bitcoin and Ethereum are crashing, then there's fewer participants in the market, there's fewer new participants entering the market, and the participants existing in the market are more conservative with less buying pressure. Therefore, the pool of possible investors in PulseChain, PulseX, and Hex diminishes, and their buying power diminishes if and when Bitcoin and Ethereum are crashing. So while yes, Hex, PulseChain, and PulseX will be largely decorrelated from Bitcoin and Ethereum, it is not completely decorrelated. That's why it's very important to understand nuance and to not throw the baby out with the bathwater, because it is still very important to understand what's going on with both Bitcoin and Ethereum, even if you're in PulseChain, PulseX, and Hex, because what's going on with those two cryptocurrencies affect, again, the potential buying pool of the potential participants in the market that could buy. It affects their buying pressure. It affects new participants. It affects everything. So it is important to consider as well. So understanding correlation is important. So to answer your question, what's going on in Ukraine does indirectly affect Bitcoin, because the more instability there is in global markets, people take a risk-off approach. People don't speculate as much, and cryptocurrency is a highly speculative asset class. So it does affect crypto, to answer your question. Someone saying do TA on Go Eddie on the Pulse 33 coin. Yeah, maybe later on live stream I'll take a look at that. Don't forget liquidity pools as well. Yeah, so how would we incorporate liquidity pools into our current definitions here? Would we include liquidity pools into fundamentals? Would we include that into the tokenomics? Would we include that into valuation? Because I was even considering incorporating understanding liquidity pools into whether or not you're getting in at a good valuation or not, because the liquidity pool does affect your potential upside. The size of your liquidity pool, the more liquidity you have, the less volatile it is. But the less liquidity you have, more volatile it is. But then but then also you have more upside and downside potential. So it does affect your ROI, therefore it affects the valuation. So yeah, I don't know where to place liquidity pools. If anyone has a suggestion, feel free to throw it out. Tokenomics, fundamentals, risk. Honestly, I think liquidity pools probably falls under understanding risk. Liquidity pools. Yeah, I would place it under risk for now. Let's see what else you guys are saying. Now, someone's saying SWOT. I look at SWOT, strength, weaknesses, opportunities, threats to generate alpha. SWOT applies to the specific software product that is being brought to market. I use this model to order metrics. Yeah, I've heard of that. That's probably something I should have taken a look at before the live stream, as well as having my music set up and being able to share system audio. Again, folks, forgive me. This is a low budget operation, but like, guys, look, fuckers, listen. I say fuckers lovingly, by the way. Listen, guys. Like, look, there's 30 people watching this thing right now. How many people care about this shit? No one cares about this shit. This shit's nerdy as fuck. But it's because we're the few that care about this shit, that we're the few that can outperform the market. And, I want to go on to later explain how, much of these factors that can lead one to outperform the market exist in PulseChain, PulseX, and Hex, which is why, for those of you who don't know, I kind of made a dramatic shift from being somewhat of a high frequency trader, swing trading, DeFi flipping, basically anything, to now solely being a long-term investor in Hex, PulseChain, and PulseX, because within that niche exist all these factors necessary to outperform the market. So yeah, that's why I've kind of made a big shift in the recent past. So what else you guys are saying? Where's Messin? That's a good question. I don't know. He's probably lost in France. So what you guys are saying? A lot of money from outside of Hex comes from smart contract opportunities and other yield generation in the industry. We all win together and hurt together. Yeah, absolutely, folks. Everything's correlated. Everything. Example, threats. This is a bucket of risks. It's a good place for LP. Diversification is key. Jen Hex is saying, don't worry, we won't tell anyone what you say. What are you saying? Well said, this shit is nerdy as fuck. Guys, this shit is nerdy as fuck. Like, no one who is like taking time to like consider these things? Fucking no one. Which is why the majority don't get outsized gains. The majority of people get average market returns because the majority of people don't know what to look at. They look at what everyone else is looking at. The majority of people are investing in Bitcoin, Ethereum, Cardano, Solana. That's why they're not going to outperform the market, because they're doing what most people are doing. Most people aren't doing this. Most people aren't taking time to be on a live stream to consider the nuances of what it takes to outperform the market. Which is why, most people don't make it. Most people don't get those life-changing gains, but I believe we will. Like, guys, look, this will all be worthwhile in a couple months when this shit's live. I mean, Richardson at this point, we probably get released, mid-May? So, guys, like, this could 10x within the first month, within the first quarter. This could 100x within the first year, within the first 2 years. It's the people who care about these little nerdy nuances that will reap the benefits in the very near future. So it is worthwhile, folks. Like, again, like this isn't sports, guys. Like, this shit has consequences. And I'm 100% thoroughly invested in becoming financially free. Like, this isn't just theoretical for me, folks. Like, I need to be able to be correct on being able to outperform the market. And this thesis basically needs to work out for me. If not, I'm financially fucked for the rest of my life. Yeah. So what the fuck else are you guys saying here? You guys are saying a whole lot. Correct, bro. Liquidity is even actually fundamental. Yeah. See, like, I don't know, when considering liquidity pairs, whether that's a fundamental consideration or consideration of risk. I mean, ultimately, there's a bunch of overlap here. So I don't know if there's a perfect way. But again, this is just me beginning to hash out these ideas. And I've been thinking of even one day to turn this into a book as I consider to further flush out the nuances. That's what you guys are saying here. I'm telling you, Will's only what you said. You're fucked now, bro. LML, sorry, Canadian. What did I say? What did I say? I don't know what I said wrong. What did I say about Wales? You're spreading foot out here, Gen X. I'm gonna put you in timeout. Okay. Most people chase alpha yield returns. They don't actually generate alpha yield. Learning what outperforms is a lesson we all need. Absolutely, folks. Absolutely. What else are you guys saying? I honestly think PulseChain and PulseX both could 10,000x within the year. I don't know about that, but I sure hope so. Oh, lol, this nerdy shit stuff, man. No, absolutely. This shit's nerdy as fuck, man. Like, who cares about this stuff? Most people don't. By the way, you should totally tell Wells, man. It's been a while since we talked to that guy. We've had him on a few times, but we need to have him back on again. I feel like Wales could definitely have something to say when it comes to this, because I like Wales because he has a very fundamental kind of bent towards his analysis. Now, I don't agree with everything Wales says, just as how I don't agree with everything anyone says. I in fact have some strong disagreements with him, perhaps when it comes to like technical analysis, and we haven't had an opportunity to hash that out. I really want to be able, because we've had Wales on for 2 live streams, and they've been very cordial. I really want to be able to start delving into those kind of disagreements. I think Wales is kind of just being like nice and not kind of hashing out potential differences that we have. But I would want to have him on again sometime, maybe when PulseChain comes out or something, and like tell him beforehand, like, hey man, like if you have disagreements with me, like don't be nice, like let's delve into it, because it's good for the audience. It's also good to kind of hash out differences, because even if you disagree with each other, it's all a matter of ideas, right? Like, how do you know if you're wrong if you don't kind of challenge your ideas? So I frankly love debating. I love discussion, even if you disagree with someone strongly. Like, I'm not one of these guys who thinks like you got to like agree with everything everyone says, or else you can't be friends. Like, like I'm friends with people I disagree with thoroughly, strongly on core issues. But it's I just, I don't know. I think it's okay to disagree with each other. Is what I'm trying to say. Crypto is nerdy as fuck. Yeah, it is, but it could lead to life-changing gains for sure. Jen Hacks is saying, I don't mind being a nerd. Many nerds are rich. No, exactly. Yeah, like, of course. Nerd's not a bad thing. Being a nerd, what is being a nerd? You're kind of hyper-focused on kind of unique things. That could be a very positive thing depending on what you're focused on. Brazology saying crypto is for chads only. 100%. I agree it is. If Hex did it in a year and a half, so why not Pulse? That's an extremely good question. If Hex did a 10,000x, let's just say 2 years, why couldn't PulseChain? Oof, we should delve into those into that. Yeah, that's something to think about for sure. I'm not gonna delve into it now because that's like an hour-long conversation, but it's a very good question. What else are you guys saying here? Maybe a short chapter on security. Security doesn't matter if you make millions if you lose it all. Oh no, 100%. In fact, guys, like I created like a whole section in our Discord group, specifically talking about security. Papa B, which is like this Hex YouTuber, did like a great series breaking down the risk of holding your crypto in something like just like a MetaMask, and how to attach your MetaMask to both the Ledger and Trezor. So shout out to that guy. So yeah, no, security is incredibly important. So I think I would include security under fundamentals, like understanding your security, and also something else you could branch off with that is like whether or not you're in a crypto that has self custody or you're holding your crypto on exchange. So yeah, something else important to consider as well. What else are you guys saying? Oh, Corey with a $5 super chat. Thank you very much, Corey. He's saying, have no idea where the crypto market is going from here. Everyone's headspace seems very negative. Yeah, and again, it's not just your opinion too. We're seeing it reflected in price action. The S&P's down, Dixie's up, sentiment's down. Crypto sentiment is very fearful for sure. So, typically speaking, whenever the market's fearful, you want to do the opposite of what the market is thinking. But the problem with that is that shit can fall much further than what you think. So while shit has fallen, shit can fall much further than what you think. Like, for example, folks, let's say this is indeed a bear flag. Right? Like, this is our flag pole. Here, I'll draw this shit so you guys know what I mean. And see, like, I bet you Wales might disagree with me on this because he's doesn't like TA, or I don't know. Anyways, point is, if you're taking like a textbook bear flag, I mean, this could fall a lot. This could fall a lot. I mean, there's even a potential head and shoulders here, although it's not perfect. Basically, folks, there's risk here for sure. The market's looking very dubious, which does affect Hex because it affects the potential pool of participants that could buy or sell Hex for sure. What else are you guys saying here? Being a nerd is the new cool. Absolutely. I agree, Blue. Bad enough to lose your funds to get a rug pull, but to make millions and lose it to a hack. Yeah, guys, like again, shout out to Papa B because I saw like one of his videos where he was talking about someone getting hacked. I'm like, my God, all this effort, all this risk, all this time I've put in into succeeding to get into the right thing and to get into the right thing early, only to be hacked. Fuck, man, holy shit. So that scared the shit out of me. I immediately bought like a bunch of ledgers, a bunch of those like titanium things for your seed phrase, and yeah, I took my security seriously, guys. Take your security seriously because if you get hacked, oof, that shit sucks. Chad season is coming, 100%. These nerds and weirdos with their magic internet money are going to be the new 1%. I mean, it is. I honestly feel bad for the people who aren't into crypto. Like, man, this shit pays off. And again, this isn't trivial, guys. Like, we're not talking about sports. We're talking about a subject that can dramatically change the quality of life for countless people. That's an important subject to take seriously. And so that's why I'm taking the time to kind of begin to hash out some of these ideas with y'all. What else are you guys saying? Shit, PulseX had over 1 billion sacrificed. I mean, come on. And Shib did 10,000x in 1 year. I'm just saying it is possible. It is possible. It's just overly optimistic, in my subjective opinion. Like, I don't want to, even though this channel's called aMillionortheMoon, I don't want to be a moon boy. Like, I don't want to give myself and others false expectations. Like, I'd rather under promise and over deliver than the other way around. So I can go on and give kind of like my own personal price predictions, but 10,000x in a year or two, pretty optimistic in my opinion. I think 1,000x is much more realistic. Although, what's the difference between 1,000 and 10,000x? Just a 10x, not much. Gen Hex with the super chat, $5. Thank you very much, man. Genuinely appreciate that. He's saying, was just messing with you, man. Said Wales because he goes into depth on nerdy shit. Now I know how you felt in the graphics chat. LOL, joking. No, man. I got you. I just wasn't sure what you were referring to as well. But no, I got what you were saying later on when you mentioned the nerd shit. So yeah, no, I appreciate the clarification, 100%. No, I like Wales because he does delve into the fundamentals deeply for sure. Corey with $4.99. Thank you again a lot, man. Thanks for that super chat, everyone. You guys' support's awesome. Corey saying, been a subscriber for a year. Been a minute since I've caught up with anyone's content. How does one get into PulseChain? So Corey, PulseChain is not live yet. From what we're hearing, we may go live around mid-May, although those predictions have been inaccurate in the past. So who knows, man? Maybe a month later, this shit probably goes live. Now, something you can do, something that I've been doing, not financial advice, something that I've been doing in order to prepare for the launch of PulseChain is switching all my non-ERC20 coins into an ERC20 and putting them in a wallet I have the private keys to, specifically to be ready for the snapshot for the fork. Because, Corey, if you weren't aware, every ERC20 and NFT on the Ethereum network will be copied onto the PulseChain. So if you're holding Chainlink, USDC, if you're holding Hex on your MetaMask, you're going to get a copy, a one-for-one copy on the PulseChain as well. So while we don't know when PulseChain is going to launch, you can take actions to prepare yourself by making sure you're holding ERC20s in a wallet. You have the private keys to. Basically, that just means MetaMask. And as well, like guys, like something I've been doing is, I have very few non-PulseChain, PulseX, and Hex holdings left. But what little I do have over the past, I have been converting into either stable coins or Hex, specifically for at the very least the next month. Like, let's say you really like Cardano. Let's say you really, really love your Cardano. Well, I mean, do you think Cardano is going to 2x over the next month? I really don't think so. In fact, it looks like to me like there's a lot further downside potential with Cardano. I mean, if I was a betting man, I would bet that at this point it seems likelier than not that we could retest 40 cents than all-time highs, given that we're breaking down from an inflection point. So my point is, whatever you're holding that's not an ERC20, if you're not super confident that it'll 2x within the next month, I don't know why it makes sense to keep holding it. Like if you're holding XRP, Cardano, Solana, whatever it is, in my opinion, what I'm doing is converting it into Hex, USDC, some kind of ERC20 for at the very least the next month or so to get into that snapshot and get those free copies, because you can use those free copies to buy more PulseChain, buy more PulseX. We don't know what rate you'll be able to convert it for. We don't know, how much value you'll be able to, how much value you will be able to extract out of those copies. But at the very least, you're looking to get some kind of value that you can use to accumulate more PulseChain and Hex, which is what I'm doing. So let's see what else you guys are saying. Analyzing the coin or the market narratives should be another bucket list item. Good narratives does attract investors. Failed narratives get rehashed. That is an incredibly good point. Understanding narratives. Now, I was thinking of incorporating something like that into the idea of market sponsorship. And I think I will. I think it makes sense to include understanding of narratives under the greater context of market sponsorship, because narratives, oh no, you guys are going to realize I don't know how to spell narratives. Anyways, because what is the idea of market sponsorship? Understanding market sponsorship is another extremely important element I've learned to appreciate over the last 2 years of being in crypto. Because in the last 2 years of being in crypto, I realized that there are periods in which there's a kind of DeFi hype wave where anything DeFi associated with it does well. Then there was a NFT hype wave, and then there was an Oracle hype wave. And now we've been experiencing the metaverse hype wave as of recently. So there's been periods where the market sponsors a particular niche, a particular narrative. And so it's very important to keep track of what the market is currently sponsoring, what narratives are doing well, what niches are doing well. And it's extremely important to track that, because as soon as the market ditches that narrative or finds a new narrative, like I remember when we went from the NFT narrative to the metaverse narrative, so the NFTs crashed and all that value within that ecosystem moved into the metaverse hype wave. And so it's very important to understand that as well. So thank you for that comment. It's extremely important to follow narratives, niches, all under the umbrella of market sponsorship, I believe. So great comment. Oh no, I'm falling behind here in the comments. All right, what else are you guys saying? If you can catch a rehash narrative, you can call BS. Yes, I agree. I'm seeing much of that within the metaverse niche. A lot of the same bullshit you heard in the when NFTs were popping off. It's the same exact stuff with the metaverse, and then that will circulate into something else. Who knows what? Any thoughts on PulseX single-sided pools APR? I don't know, because we don't know the tokenomics on the incentive token. Now, this is something else that has been bothering me. I don't know if it's been bothering you guys, or if you guys have been like noticing this, but Richard Hart has live streamed with like 4 different people in the last month or two. No one has goddamn brought up the incentive token tokenomics. Why does everyone like refuse to bring this up? It's extremely important, because those will be the rewards for PulseX staking. So I can't really answer your question, because we don't know the tokenomics, the inflation rate of the incentive token. We don't know, what other tokens will provide liquidity for single-site staking pools for PulseX. So I can't answer your question, because there's a lot of unknowns. But I don't know why no one just asked Richard that. Like it's a very obvious question that everyone's is avoiding. I don't know why. Bufo was saying, it's too late, bro. You're already the poster child for Moon Boys. I mean, man, look. If PulseChain and PulseX goes live and does what I think, I will literally go from... How do I phrase this? Because I don't want to, like, dox myself. But I'm not financially free. I need to do something to make an income, or else I will be homeless. All right? I will go from that to being able to retire probably before I'm 25. Like Richard. I think Richard retired... We said when it was 25. If PulseChain launches within the next month or two and does what I expect within the next couple months, I think I'll be able to do the same. I think I'll be able to retire by the time I'm 25, because I'm 23 right now. So 2 years of PulseChain being live, yeah, I think I think I'll be able to retire for sure. I'll be able to retire a couple people. Hopefully, we'll see. Maybe I get hacked, right? Don't hack me, guys. Come on, don't hack me. What else are you guys saying? This would probably save a good percentage of people checking for bullshit narratives that have failed before. Yes, absolutely. I'm happy with 100x, 100%. Yeah, Wales Only is a living legend. Yeah, I really like his. I really like people who are strongly opinionated and knowledgeable. Even though I disagree with him on the edges on certain stuff, as I do with like any human being. I bring that up because I would really want to explore those differences in opinion because I think it's helpful for the audience. Yeah, it's probably time to close my longs and head back into Hex. Thanks for the reminder. Hey man, not financial advice. I'm not telling you what to do. I'm definitely not long Bitcoin right now. I'll put it that way. I brought it up. He skips the questions. I'm not sure what you're referring to. Brandon, how dare you have expectations from the incentive token? Yeah, guys, this is another thing too. Like this all nonsense of the origin address that don't have expectations. That's for the regulators. Okay, I'm not a regulator. Like we can be real with each other. Like yes, I fully expect incentive token and PulseChain to do extremely well. I expect that. Yeah, I'm not a regulator. We can be real with each other. This is the anticipation. He is the master showman, in my opinion, 100%. I don't know who you're referring to. If it's me, I appreciate it. Just sit, B. You'll be fine. But you have to sit on your hands, Lamo. 23 in this type of opportunity. Yeah, guys, I know I look I look quite older with the bags and the wrinkles, but I am indeed 23. Last time I checked. I don't know, man. I don't keep track of the days. Maybe I'm 24. Who knows? I'll have to check my ID. Completion fails is saying, do you think Pulse and PulseX will do a 5,000x for the first 10 years, 2 years? All right, folks, look, I'll put it this way. I was going to make a video about it. Since you guys are here, I'll give you all a sneak peek as to my thoughts. In terms of price predictions, everyone does them differently. Some people compare what other Ethereum competitors have done in the past. Some people take a look at time frames. I like to think of my price predictions in this way. I like to think of price predictions in correlation with Bitcoin, because as Bitcoin continues to grow, and to the extent it grows, that basically correlates to how many new participants are entering the market, how much buying pressure the market has. So that's kind of how I gauge things. And I'll put things this way. I think that PulseChain and PulseX will do a 1000x from all-time low to all-time high before or by the time Bitcoin simply does a 10x from its all-time highs. Because I find a lot of these price predictions to be rather arbitrary. 1 year, 2 year time frame. It's very arbitrary. I think tying a price prediction to Bitcoin removes some of that arbitrariness. So for example, I think 1000x well before. Bitcoin does a 10x. We might 1000x before Bitcoin even tests its all-time highs once again. Who knows? But I think it's a very, very safe way of putting it to say that PulseChain and PulseX will 1000x before Bitcoin simply does a 10x from its all-time highs. So basically, by the time Bitcoin does $650,000, yeah, I would expect 1000x. I would expect a 10,000x by that point, to be honest. Can you hold for 5,000x? I sure shit will. I'll probably sell enough to like pay off debts and shit. I don't know, maybe for 50x, 100x. But my plan is to, and I might not even do that. I might even just use the PulseX staking rewards to pay my living expenses and not even ever touch my principal. So I'm sure shit planning on holding. I want to hold it until it hurts, man. Data7 is saying I managed to retire at 30, 33 now. Old as hell. Yeah, man. Nah. We're all youngins. I feel old as shit, man. I got back pains. I'm fat. I'm like, I feel old, bro. I feel you. Easier to hold when you have yield. Absolutely. LOL, no bags, wrinkles. You are a beefcake. Stop playing. You're gonna make me blush, man. The Coin Critic. Thank you very much. I am indeed the looks here at aMillionortheMoon, and also the brains, but I appreciate that. Very, very kind. What else are you gonna say there? Yeah, I know it's hard to follow everything when you look as good as we do. Abso-fucking-lutely, man. It's hard. It's hard to follow shit when you look this good. All right. Good to see the usual suspects blowing up. Yeah, folks, by the way, everyone, like and subscribe. Hit that bell icon to be notified of new uploads. We're all just kind of having a conversation as to exactly what it takes to outperform the market. So if we take a look back here at my list, what are we saying? Where do we leave off here? What size market is the investment addressing? Okay, folks, this point here, number 3, what size market is your investment addressing? This is an extremely underrated point. because this point specifically right here differentiates why I'm so confident in something like PulseChain and PulseX. Because look, for you guys who don't know me, a year or so ago, I used to be on the, trying to find a new low cap gem every week, different forums, different investment groups, different videos, just trying to find whatever the newest thing of the week was. What's the new hot coin? And I've never been as confident in any one of my investments in the past as I have been in PulseChain and PulseX. And one of the reasons that's affected the degree of confidence I have is because PulseChain and PulseX, unlike many new low cap gems of the week that are, either new ideas, kind of trailblazing, uh, they oftentimes aren't addressing a very large total addressable market, or if they are, the idea is often very unproven. But something like PulseChain, which is a literal just copy of Ethereum, it's an extremely already well-proven niche that is in extremely high demand and actually has the ability to pull it off. And it has a very large, literally the largest total addressable market in crypto is what Ethereum is going after, because Ethereum is the bedrock in which everything else is built on top of. That's the largest possible market you could be addressing, which is what PulseChain is going after. The largest total addressable market that's well proven with the ability to actually pull it off. So that's something else to add. Is the idea well proven? And in this case, it is. So this is one reason that affects my degree of confidence. Because look, guys, let's take a look at our VIP Discord group for a second. All right. And look, this is some of the shit I used to focus on, right? Like Gods Unchained, Armor Finance, Mover. I invested in these things myself. I was to varying degrees confident in these investments. But none of these things, let's go back up way back in the day. See what I was talking about. I was talking about Sushi, Pokedex, Alchemix, Anchor Protocol, PolkaSwap. All these investments, I've never been as confident in any one of these. Decenter. Decenter was this low cap gem that I really liked back in the day. Audius. I think Audius is another good example as well, because Audius is basically like Spotify on the blockchain. This is way back when. This is like what? Friday, August 2021. I was talking about Audius at $1.30. What's it at now? I'll look it up quickly. But my point is, I've never been as confident in PulseChain, or I don't know how do I say this. I'm the most confident I've ever been in PulseChain and PulseX over something like Audius or any one of these other cryptocurrencies. Audius is down. Audius is like $1.18 right now, specifically because Audius was an unproven idea. Spotify on the blockchain. We've never really seen that before. We don't know if that idea can really succeed, and so it's kind of unproven. Who knows the size of that market? And so something like PulseChain is very different from like Audius, because again, we're addressing the largest total addressable market with the ability to actually pull it off, and it is a proven idea. So that's just one of the reasons that separates my degree of confidence, which I hope was a worthwhile tangent for you guys. Okay, so is there anything else here that we can think of that affects the size of the market you're addressing? Team, track record. So, yeah, so who's the team? Who's the team? Do they have a track record of success? Like Richard Hart, again, I'm extra confident in something like PulseChain and PulseX because Richard Hart has a track record of building Hex and being successful at building Hex, which makes me, that much more confident in something like PulseChain and PulseX. Okay, yeah, that's it for now. Now, something else that's incredibly important to take into consideration is tokenomics. The tokenomics, pumpamentals. Again, guys, like I used to invest into good ideas with maybe lacking tokenomics, like Audius, for example. Audius, I think, is a very great idea, very interesting idea. Spotify on the blockchain. But what are the tokenomics? What are the utility of the token? I think you get perks for holding the Audius token with these different streamers, like people who produce content. And I think Bufo, I don't know, you might know something about Audius, because I think Bufo was on Audius as well. I don't know if you're still here, bro, but if you are, like, is there any utility you found with the Audius token on Audius? Because I remember you had music on Audius. You may not be familiar, you may not even be here, but my point is there was a lack of utility. There was a lack of good tokenomics with Audius. I mean, Audius just honestly seemed to be kind of like a duct tape on token to what is a good idea. And so because there was that lack of tokenomics, Audius did poorly. I mean, Audius went on to rally from this post from $1.33 to $3. Here, I'll share my screen. So just show you guys that, like, you know, I can make good calls here. We broke out bullishly here at $1.33, and then, you know, she went on to rally from $1.33 to $3. So that was a very profitable call back in the day. But even that, you know, that 100% ROI move, that 2x, you know, pales in comparison to what someone like PulseChain and PulseX could do. So yeah, no, that's why tokenomics are important. That's the point I'm trying to make. And so what is the game theory? Yeah, so game theory honestly could be incorporated into fundamentals as well. I might move around where I place that. But yeah, no, it's very important to understand exactly what the token is set up to do. Is there the consideration from the team of price appreciation? Sometimes there is, and sometimes there isn't. And when there isn't, it's really felt in the price action. So yeah, game theory, understanding whether or not there's a built-in consideration of price appreciation. Yeah. So how would I write that? Consideration of price appreciation. Whales in the system, yeah. Whales can be good and they can be bad. Like whales, for example, in the hex system are good because whales stake and they don't sell. But in like something like Solana's case, while I don't have like an article in front of me, I believe there was a track record of whales in Solana kind of like selling and suppressing the price after it's below off top there. What is the coin critic saying? One more thing on tokenomics: understanding entry price of all early holders is the true price floor. Understanding the entry price. Yeah, that's extremely important. Your entry, your valuation. Because folks, where do I have valuation? If I didn't touch on this earlier, getting in early on something that's good isn't good enough. You need to get in at a good valuation. Because when I first started buying into Hex, at around 12 cents, like around here is when I first started buying Hex. And I mean, arguably in retrospect, it was at a good valuation. Anyways, my point is, there's a big difference between buying here at 12 cents and buying way over here. Valuation makes a massive, massive, massive difference. So yeah, sure. Over time, I'll be profitable. I mean, I'm fully staked out. I'm earning interest. I'm in profit now, including my the interest I've earned. But if I would have gotten in much earlier at a much better valuation, I would have been much, much more profitable. So it's not just a matter of getting in into something good. It's getting into something good at a good valuation. Because getting into something good, getting into Bitcoin right now, I mean, Bitcoin at 40,000, like what? It'll come maybe 5-10x, best case scenario, 5-10 years from now. I mean, that's boring. If you would have gone into Bitcoin at a much better valuation at around $40, obviously that dramatically impacts your ROI. So, yeah, good valuation is extremely important. So, how to write that down? Not. All right. What else are you guys saying? Appreciate the audience, TA. You're welcome. Do we all think that Hex is another 100x, 1000x in here? Yeah, guys, look, I really like Hex from multiple fronts. Hex is so nuanced. There's so much nuance behind it. Because look, I'm not one of these guys that think there's like no risk in Hex. There is risk in Hex. I think the risk is simply just acceptable. Now, can Hex do another 100x, another 1000x? Now, if you simply were to consider its market cap, some people might say no. But I would say that, especially over the long term, especially when PulseChain comes out and it's been out for a while, I do think something like Hex over the next couple of years has something like that left in there, specifically because the thing that distinguishes Hex from the vast majority of other cryptocurrencies around a similar market cap is the fact that its liquidity is number one, mostly on decentralized exchanges, and has very, very low liquidity. Like, I wish, what's the fucking website where you can find liquidity? I'm not going to look it up now because I have to think about it. But point is, there's only roughly like $15 to $20 million worth of liquidity last time I checked on all the pairs on like Uniswap. And so it's very easy to move the price up as it is to move the price down. And so because Hex uniquely has low liquidity compared to other cryptocurrencies around its same market cap, I do think it's uniquely positioned to perform much better compared to other cryptocurrencies around a similar market cap. So yeah, I do think she has a 1000x, 100x left in her, given enough years. Guys, in all honesty, like, you don't just go, typically speaking, straight up back in like this parabolic uptrend after our first blow off top, right? Like, typically, if you're looking at something like Bitcoin, after your first parabolic blow off top and period of consolidation, you need another period of accumulation before you have enough pent up energy for the next leg up. Now, the thing that kind of makes Hex a little bit different and why it could theoretically, just start exploding right away upon a bullish breakout is because of that low liquidity. So again, typically speaking, after our first parabolic blow off top and our period of consolidation, we need accumulation. You need a period of accumulation after your period of consolidation, and then you could start to explode again. But Hex might be able to skip that given how low liquidity. Like, folks, like, if someone just market executes $20 million in buy pressure worth of Hex, I mean, that could double, triple the price. I don't know what it could do, but it can move the price dramatically. So I don't know, man. It's hard to call Hex because it's so unique. But yeah, no, those are my thoughts. I forgot what the question was, so those are my thoughts. Maybe something about influencer pump and dumps. Yeah. Although that would kind of go into fundamentals. Like, is it fundamentally sound? Is it a sound idea? Sound implementation / rollout? Is it a rug pull? Yeah, I guess those are some important considerations when analyzing fundamentals. So yeah, appreciate that. If you could buy without understanding entry prices of others, you will very likely become liquidity this cycle. Many projects give marketing supply to YouTubers, teams, market makers for free. Man, goddamn, I wish that was true, man. Guys, if you if you have a token and you want to give some of that token to me, feel free. People say there's a lot of this free token handing out going. Let me just tell you from experience, there's not as much as you'd like. Okay, I frankly wish there was a lot more of this. Hey, I'll give you this token if you shill it, because hey man, I would put every penny of what I get into like PulseChain and Hex. So we have gotten like sponsorships before. We've worked with Tani, we worked with MMF Finance. Those are the two people we've only ever like received money for like branding. We've always like told people that. But frankly, I wish it was more more common. Like, I'll take it for sure. I'll gladly put whatever coin you give me into Hex or PulseChain or something. So just a thought. If Bitcoin did a 6.9 million X, then Hex can too. I don't know, man. That's if Hex changed over time. I think if the liquidity improved over time, if the liquidity got denser over time, then yeah, I think Hex could do something like that. But something to understand is that Hex is fragile in that, given that there's low liquidity and it's easy to move the price up, well, the more price moves up, the more whales you have and the more potential selling pressure you have. And so, literally, the more parabolic Hex gets, the more fragile it gets because the fewer people it takes to basically reverse the uptrend. And so, unless you have liquidity continue to go up as Hex continues to do its hundreds of X, eventually it'll run up against a wall, because if Hex just does 1000x, if it just does 1000x from now, and the liquidity does not change, it just takes one person selling a tiny amount of their portfolio to dramatically move the price. So I think that over time, over the years, I think Hex can afford to be illiquid right now. But if we look forward, if we zoom forward 10 years from now, I would be surprised if we have the same kind of liquidity scenario that we do today. Maybe there's some nuance to that I haven't thought of, but I would suspect that over time, liquidity should need to get thicker for its growth to be sustainable. Maybe someone disagrees with me. I haven't fully thought out that idea, but it does seem to be on face value sensible that for growth to be sustainable over long periods of time, that you would need to have increasing proportional liquidity to the growth. Again, someone might disagree with me, but that does seem logical at face value. Bufo was saying, let's get this video over 100. Yeah, guys, look, really, guys, literally, if you guys like, YouTube will show the live stream to more people. Like, if there's a sudden surge, like we have 65 people watching now, if like 20 people all of a sudden hit that like button, YouTube will literally show the live stream to more people. So guys, we appreciate it. If you want to help with the channel, the easiest way to do it is literally like, but also share the video as well. Like if you want to tweet out live stream, it really, really helps at the channel, because if YouTube sees that you're picking up traffic from outside of YouTube, it'll promote the live stream more. So guys, liking and sharing, commenting, best ways to support the channel. So I appreciate you guys. So yeah, man, mad love to you, Bufo. The coin critic is saying Hex is changing the game. Market cap myth. See, okay, Dex ignorance, AMM ignorance, truth engines stickiness. Hex will have the most loyal social network for decades to come. No middleman, has much value. I agree with a lot of what you said there. Another one of the reasons why I was so intrigued by Hex back in August, this is when I started like looking heavily into Hex, was specifically because one of the reasons was because it has the strongest community I've ever seen. Like to some extent, it even looks cultish. But I mean, that's even like if you just even if you say it's a cult, I mean that's a good thing. It's good for price appreciation. Like it's not bad. I definitely don't take it as an insult. How many X's can PLSX realistically do 6 months from launch? Look, man, I don't know that, but what I would say is that I would suspect that PulseChain probably outperforms PulseX in the short term, given that it's easy to understand what PulseChain is. It'll be more marketing. The token supply is also scarcer, I believe. So my gut feeling is PulseChain outperforms PulseX in the short term, and then once the volume builds up and the buy and burn really kicks in, I think PulseX outperforms PulseChain over the long term. So that's kind of my best way of answering that question. Hex is a way better Bitcoin. Once them Bitcoin maxis get their heads out of their asses, then they'll be flooding into Hex. Just saying, look, guys, no, people are extremely tribal, and they don't make decisions based off kind of just like, plain black and gray analytics. They make decisions based off feelings. And so the Bitcoin people will never change because they have, it's their tribe, man. And then they're not gonna, it's extremely difficult for people to look past their own personal prejudices. People make decisions based off psychological factors far more often than they do based off analytical factors. So that's why I love something like PulseChain, because PulseChain is airdropping all Ethereum holders some copies, and so people will have some stake in the PulseChain system, and therefore they'll be more psychologically inclined to adopt and be open-minded towards PulseChain. I love PulseChain, the marketing behind it, the game theory, it's fucking genius. We're gonna be fucking rich, guys. Not financial advice. HH is saying, should I pull all of my ETH into Hex right now? Well, number one, not financial advice. Number two, Ethereum is not going to be copied onto the PulseChain. You will get a 1-for-1 copy. Like for every 1 ETH you have, you'll get 1 PulseChain on the PulseChain network. And 1 PulseChain is like worth nothing. 1 PulseChain is like, I don't know how many hundreds of like a penny. Like it's nothing. And so I'm not telling you what to do. What I am telling you is, I'll tell you what I'm doing. Like what I'm doing is moving all my non-ERC20s into Hex, USDC, maybe a little bit USDT, maybe a little bit of DAI, maybe a little bit of Hadron, maybe Maxi. Basically, I'm moving my money into ERC20s that I think will have the least bit of slippage in the early days when PulseChain goes live. So that's very likely to be mostly Hex. So I'm not not financial advice. Number one, I am buying Hex right now. I let our VIP Discord group know yesterday or like a day or two ago that I was buying Hex like right about here. But I also have some dry powder left just in case we lose 12 cents. If we start testing 8 to 7 cents, I would fucking ape into Hex so heavily if we test 8 to 7 cents. So I actually do have some dry powder right now. I've been buying a little bit of Hex here, but I'm waiting to see if we break out. Because if we break out bullishly, I have no problem buying Hex at 16 cents. But if we break down, I would fucking love to buy Hex at around 8, 7 cents. So I'm holding some dry powder for then. So to answer your question, I have Hex and stable coins ready for both a snapshot and dry powder to buy Hex potentially on a dip. That's my answer. Man, there's a lot of comments today. A 6.9 million X on Hex is $39. Oof, man. I don't think it's impossible, man. Hex was built to outperform Bitcoin. It has so far. The same factors that led it to do a 10,000X are the same factors which exist today, which they are. What has changed? The only thing that's changed is humans, the psychology of humans. But if you know about the psychology of humans, is that people are cyclical. That's something else incredibly important to understand. The cycles of crypto, both in particular niches, all of crypto, the micro and macro sense, both in price action and psychologically speaking, cycles are incredibly important to understand. They're super, super, super important to understand. What are we looking at before? We're looking at Hex here. Yeah. I don't know why I got on cycles talk, but yeah, cycles are important. Nash, coin critic say Nash Equilibrium would say they will act in their best interest. This means whales aren't intended to add to liquidity. Yes. The last part is right. Yes. And something with something like Hex too, whales are incentivized to act rationally and act in their own self-interest, just as Richard is incentivized to act rationally and act in his own self-interest. There is an incredible amount of incentive for Richard to not lose his mind, to not sell, and to continue to act in a way that benefits Hex. But the problem with Hex, and where the critics do have some points, and again, like I'm one of these guys who I really like being able to delve into the risk and to criticize even something I like. And one of the biggest criticisms that I think are legitimate with Hex is that ultimately people are not fully rational. Even though you can incentivize rational behavior, humans are ultimately psychological beings, and we don't act rationally. And so, there can be a person that just market executes, just dumps $20 million worth of Hex. And that happens. I mean, Hex is going to dump dramatically. And while, yes, he is incredibly incentivized to not do that, the amount of slippage you'll get, the amount of value you'll be able to extract, it just doesn't make any sense. You should sell like, $20,000, $50,000 at a time, spread out over time. Fuck, I think I'm talking too fast. But point being, someone can lose their mind, right? Like, if someone kidnaps Richard's dog and says, market execute, all your Hex, just sell it. If not, I'll kill your dog. I mean, who knows, man, right? Like, people, even though there's a massive incentive to act rationally, people sometimes don't act rationally. So that's why Hex is fragile. Although I would, again, ultimately agree that Hex has longevity over the long term. And even though there are risk factors, I think the risk factors are tolerable for Hex, which is why Hex is my number one biggest investment. Wow, a lot of comments. I'm holding as little ETH as possible for the fork. Same here as well. I basically don't have enough Ethereum for transaction fees, which is dramatically different from how I started off crypto. Because when I first started crypto, Ethereum was like 60% of my portfolio. If you make me a 100 million person, why not put 10 million back into the liquidity pool, especially if I have 90 million staked for 10 years? Yeah, no, for sure. And probably a lot of people do that as well. AK saying, which Richard Art token are you most bullish on for 2022 to 2023? That there, sir, is an interesting question. You're basically asking me PulseChain, PulseX, or Hex. And fuck, that's a good question, specifically for your time frame as well, because I don't know, man. I number one, to kind of begin to narrow down my focus, I do think that PulseChain and PulseX will outperform Hex in the short term. Both because, there'll be people selling Hex for PulseChain and PulseX. I mean, I know I will be. There will be a doubling of the Hex supply. even though a lot more people will be introduced to Hex, in the pool of new buyers will greatly increase. Ultimately, there is a 2x in the supply. So I do think, number one, although I love Hex, and Hex is currently my number one largest investment until PulseChain and PulseX go live, I do think that PulseChain and PulseX are likely to outperform it in the short term. So then it's between PulseChain and PulseX. Now, I do prefer the tokenomics of PulseX over PulseChain over the long term, but I think there will be more buy pressure on something like PulseChain, and the PulseChain supply is likely to be smaller, although as well there's a very, very good excuse to never sell your PulseX. Because another thing as well, it's not just that PulseChain has a smaller supply, sure, but there's more buy pressure, sure, but there will also be more sell pressure when it comes to extracting value on PulseChain over PulseX. Because if people want to take out, people want gains, if they want return on investment on their PulseX, you don't actually have to sell your PulseX. You could sell the staking rewards, which is a whole other token, which removes a shit ton of sell pressure from PulseX. So the open question is, will the likely extra buy pressure on PulseChain, because it's a more well understood idea, outperform the less sell pressure on PulseX, because people can extract value on a token that isn't their PulseX with the single side staking pools? It's an open question. There's no good way of answering it. Ultimately, I would flip a coin, have a 50-50 allocation. But if you had to say gun to my head, I would say PulseChain, ultimately because the nuances are open-ended, unanswerable. It's not unanswerable. Like, you literally don't know. And so I would say PulseChain. And ultimately, I'll say PulseChain because of this. Look, I have an uncle who's like kind of dabbled into crypto. He kind of understands the idea of crypto. He kind of knows what Bitcoin is. He's kind of heard of like Ethereum. And so I told him one day, like, hey, there's this new Ethereum coming out. It's a faster, cheaper version of Ethereum. And he was like, oh, okay, cool. Like, I understand that. And then I told him there's also this new coin called PulseX, which is the main decentralized exchange with a buy and burn feature and very bullish tokenomics. He was like, just blank face, just didn't know what I was talking about. And so basically my uncle represents the average retail investor. Where is the average retail investor going to go and place their money when they hear about Richard Hart? Hex is hard to understand. PulseX is easier to understand than Hex, but also harder to understand than PulseChain. Because I think PulseChain is just the thing that will be that people will have, that retail will have the most exposure to. I think it will be the most buy pressure there. And so I think my ultimate question is PulseChain for the short term. Yeah, next year or two. Yeah, great question. Give me a second. Hydration break, folks. I've been talking a lot. Jesus. I've been going for an hour and 22 minutes here, and I haven't even finished my list or gone into this thing. Guys, you're the best. Like and subscribe. Ali is saying, hey man, what do you think will there be a dip for PLS and PLSX? I've missed a sack for both, and I'm planning to fill my bags when the dip. If these things launch at any kind of premium, sure. Like if PulseChain launches at a 2x, a 5x, 10x from what the majority of, like, let's say the day one sack rate was, then yeah, there'll probably be a dip. But excuse me, if PulseChain or PulseX launch at any kind of valuation comparable to what the day one sack rate was for both PulseChain and PulseX, I'm extremely doubtful that there will be any kind of significant dip. Personally, my strategy is to use all my PRC20 copies to buy PulseChain throughout the first 2 days of it being live. And then with my ERC20 copies, wait for a dip and use my ERC20 copies to then bridge over into PulseChain, or just my ERC20s, like my original copies. They're not copies, the original coins. And then bridge that over and then use that to buy whatever dip we might see. So essentially, my answer is I'm dollar cost averaging. Yeah, like within the first week, within the first month, that's like when I'm going all in. Mostly within the first 2 days. John May, take care, man. Data 7 saying, I say PulseChain, it's much more likely something else outperforms or replaces PLSX or even PHEX. I don't know about that, but I can see the case for PulseChain for sure. My guess is PLS outperforms PLSX. My guess is it's Hex fuck, how do I say this? Sorry, guys, this is my first day speaking English. PulseChain outperforms PulseX, which outperforms Hex in the 6 months after launch. But whales can buy, sell, and change all this in a candle. Absolutely. Hex could outperform both if a whale wants to. Absolutely. Guys, like if someone just drops 20 million, market executes, just buys Hex, yeah, like that will like 2-3x it. Like, so yeah, it's a very unanswerable question. If you are missing any one of these, you are out. Yes. Hi, what's the actual expected API for PulseX? We have no idea. My guess it'll probably be between 30 and 100%, although that's just a random guess. PLS at the moon, 100%. Typo, PLSS plus PLSX plus Hex holder wins. Yeah, guys, absolutely. Like my, my portfolio is probably going to end up looking like 25% PulseChain, 25% PulseX, 25% Hex. And then I also got into liquid loans. I got into internet money dividend. I got into Mintra, although not very heavily. I got into Power City, much heavier than I did into Mintra. So yeah, so like I do hold other coins. I hold like Helium, HNT, like I have a Helium miner. I have Casper Labs, Casper Network. I like Casper Network a lot because it's another Ethereum competitor that fucking nobody's talking about. And so I honestly do prefer PulseChain over this thing, and I will be buying PulseChain over this. But just to share with you guys, like again, I like this thing because nobody's talking about it, nobody's heard about it, and it's a Ethereum competitor that I think who knows, could be like a Solana kind of thing once kind of they build out an ecosystem. But again, I would bias PulseChain over this thing any day. So like I'm just gonna like not withdraw the money I have from this thing. Like I have this thing staked, like and it's complicated to remove it, so I'm just like leaving that there for the next 5 years. See what happens. So we were saying, J-Man, I believe PulseX will dip because everyone is going to be swapping it for Pulse. I'm sure shit not. I think a lot of people are, but I think a lot of people make stupid decisions because look, man, if you're not getting a 1-for-1 ratio, then you're essentially saying that I believe, like if you're getting a 2-to-1 ratio, you're essentially saying I believe PulseChain will literally forever outperform PulseX by a 2x. Like if PulseChain does a 100x, PulseX will do a 50x. And I'll just do that consecutively forever. Like you have to believe that if you are swapping PulseX for PulseChain at anything other than a 1-to-1 ratio. And like I don't know why you're confident in that. Like PulseX might even outperform PulseChain over the long term. So in my opinion, it makes little to no sense to swap PulseX for PulseChain if you're not getting a 1-for-1 ratio, which you're very unlikely to do, which means, in my opinion, it does not make sense to swap PulseX for PulseChain. Some people will do it. Good on you. I think it literally doesn't make sense. Like you would have to believe that PulseChain will outperform by a lot forever in order for that to make sense, which is unlikely given that there's very strong arguments that the opposite is possible. So if you want to accumulate more PulseChain, which I do, like I didn't go very heavy into PulseChain, but I went super heavy into PulseX. And so I do personally want more PulseChain, as many other people do as well. But in my opinion, it makes far more sense to stake PulseX and use PulseX's superior staking rewards over PulseChain to use those staking rewards to swap for PulseChain, but not swap the PulseX. Between the staking rewards and how PulseX might actually outperform PulseChain over the long term, if you're not getting a 1-to-1 ratio, it makes very little return on investment sense. It's not even my opinion. It just doesn't make sense literally to swap PulseX for PulseChain unless you think PulseChain will outperform PulseX consistently forever, which there's good arguments that the opposite might happen. So yeah, I'm not doing that. I in fact planning on making a video closer to the launch of PulseChain, probably after the fork or Snapchat date, talking about how I think it's not a good idea to swap PulseX for PulseChain, although not financial advice, right? I'm just talking about what I am doing. So yeah, appreciate that question. Gary J saying, I think this will be the first time a layer 2 will outperform the layer 1. PulseX is going to go parabolic. I agree, guys. Like, there's very good arguments that PulseX could outperform PulseChain. The question is that going to take a month? Is that going to take 6 months? Is that going to take a year, 2 years, 5 years? Like, I think the longer time goes on, the likelier that PulseX outperforms PulseChain, simply because the more volume you have, there's that buy and burn, right? There's that buy and burn is crazy, guys. Like if I forget if it was K4K or where I saw this, but if we had comparable volume to PancakeSwap, something like $1 billion a day, you could be looking at $600,000, $700,000 worth of buy pressure on the chart a day, every day. That's a lot. And not only is that a lot, but an extremely important open question as to, whether or not this 1000x is possible and when and who will outperform who is the goddamn fucking liquidity. Guys, the liquidity pairs are huge. If there's low liquidity on PulseChain and PulseX, which I hope there is, and there's that buy and burn on PulseX, low liquidity paired with buy and burn with lots of volume could send PulseX to the fucking moon, which is why I've evolved. Because like when I first got into PulseX day one, I was like, yeah, sure, I'm going to swap my PulseX for PulseChain when it comes out. But as time went on, and as the news came out that you can stake PulseX for a third token, it was that news that changed my mind. Let me just believe that PulseX is probably even a long-term better hold than PulseChain. Higher staking rewards, buy and burn, extremely good excuse to never sell PulseX. Like, guys, think about people who want to extract value, right? Like if you get a 10x, if you get a 100x, you're going to want to sell. Now with PulseChain, how can you extract value? You can either take a loan out against it with something like liquid loans, but then you have the risk of being liquidated, right? Or you could stake it and earn what, 3-5% a year. It's not going to be a lot of staking rewards. And let's say you sell the staking rewards, you're still selling PulseChain, and you're putting sell pressure on the market. Now what about PulseX? You're a whale. You're someone like me. No, I'm kidding. Not a whale. Don't hack me. Don't look into my addresses. Anyways, you're someone who's done well in PulseX and you want to extract value. Well, you don't actually ever have to sell the PulseX token. You could just sell the staking rewards, which is the third inflationary token, the incentive token, and which basically removes a shit ton of sell pressure. So you have constant buy pressure, a really good excuse to never sell, high staking rewards, deflationary. Like, guys, PulseX is going to fucking do amazing. So yeah, I'm definitely not swapping any PulseX for PulseChain for sure. I'm selling the staking rewards. The coin critic is saying number 10 is great. Also be a contrarian. Absolutely. Guys, being a contrarian, thinking outside of the box, essentially practicing insight, having above average insight is ultimately the thing that distinguishes a successful investor. And I define success as return on investment to a non-successful investor. Like, for example, guys, if you might want to clip this as well and send this to Messin, because I'm about to criticize Messin. Me and Messin have a difference on this channel. I have chosen to focus on this PulseChain ecosystem. Messin has chosen to focus on the Crypto.com, VVS, MMF ecosystem. Now, we have different sets of reasons, different sets of factors as to why we choose to focus on that. If I can maybe give my best version of kind of the reason why Messin is focused on his niche, like a good argument is because he sees how Crypto.com is onboarding the next 100 million, next billion users, and they are indeed onboarding those people, and so he sees how the dApps building on that network are likely to succeed from all these new people coming in, which is not an unreasonable thesis to have. I fully agree with that thesis and think it's very reasonable. But I think the ultimate difference between me and Messin, why I think I'm set up to beat his return on investment by a lot, is because I would ultimately say, and I've told Messin this, we disagree with each other all the time. It's not like a personal thing. We love disagreeing with each other. It's all about ideas. Is that I personally think I do have the thing that distinguishes me and him is I think I have a bit of a better insight into what leads something to dramatically outperform the market than he does. And we could delve into that. And he would love to disagree. Believe me, folks, he would love to disagree with me on that. And I'm sure we'd have a great conversation. But I don't know. I just think I think he lacks. I don't know. He doesn't lack. I don't know. Because I'm trying to both criticize him and represent his point of view well while he's not here all at the same time. And so I'm trying to like juggle different considerations all at once. But what I do want to say is that I think I have better insight than Messin. I think having above average insight is ultimately the sauce that differentiates a successful investor from a non-successful investor. And I define successful investor as your return on investment. Because I don't know, I think I think the factors that he I think he neglects fundamentals, and I think he's failed to truly appreciate the uniqueness of this niche in a way that'll be detrimental towards his return on investment. And because I haven't done that, I think my insight is superior. Although, of course, again, I'm sure he would disagree with me. And I'm trying to best represent him. So I'll leave that there because, again, I don't want to just criticize a guy who isn't here and can't defend himself. But those are my thoughts. I'll leave it there. Data. I hope someone clips that and sends it to him. Data7 is saying, meant to say that I think Hex is so sticky that it can offset the sell pressure and pool depth. In fact, I already feel that that's the case with its realized cap / liquidity. Okay. Right on. J-Man says I will not be swapping. All right, good for you, J-Man. Not financial advice. CoinCritic is saying contrarian. The media leads people to invest after they are paid by advertisers. This means you are the last to know. You become liquidity for the cycle. Like B said earlier, don't be the last. Absolutely. Guys, it pays to be in first place. It pays to be a winner. Like, this shit matters. PulseX is literally a money printer. It literally is, because it literally pays you a yield. It is a money printer. I fucking love PulseX. I am so happy I went all in on PulseX. So happy. God, this shit's a month away, folks. Oh, God, I can't wait. Cannot wait. I'm going to take shots and, like, light up something when the shit goes live with y'all. Hex Day 1 is saying, for love, I must say trend buy burn extra token for holding has tried but failed a couple of years ago. Okay, not sure what you're getting at there, but appreciate the comment. Contrarian falls into the strategy part of swap for me. Strategies to outperform are not the strategy of the common person, so you have to be different or you're chasing alpha. Plain I think. Exactly, man. That's another thing too. Like, Crypto.com, it's not a contrarian thing to be for Crypto.com. Like, Crypto.com is an already well-respected, well-understood, widely known, widely adopted investment. And so because that is the case, and PulseChain is not. PulseChain is not widely known. PulseChain is not widely accepted. Again, I think there are some reasons that differentiate PulseChain from PulseX. And in fact, I think what I should do here is probably add Crow to this list instead of XRP, and kind of go through this and see how PulseChain compares to something like Crow, given all these different factors we're looking at. Hey, he sees the big corporate FTX model and is okay with supporting that system. The corporate FTX daddy makes some people feel safe. Free is not safe. It's not just that, but there's multiple ways to get return on investment. Like, I do not disagree with Messin in his thesis in that he cannot get return on investment. I think he can. Like, guys, Hex's fundamentals are great and can lead you to do good things and have high ROI. But different fundamentals that you might not like, highly centralized options like Celsius, FTX, those tokens can perform very good even if you don't like their fundamentals. So there are different sets of factors that can lead to price appreciation. And so Messin's identified a different set of price factors that can lead to price appreciation. I think he's right that system can appreciate in price. I don't think he's wrong. I just think my niche is better. Like, when Messin and I discuss our differences of opinion, I don't think he's wrong. I just think I'm more right. So, which of course I would, I suppose, but I'm fully open to being convinced convinced of otherwise. HH is saying, do you think that we'll be able to store our Pilus and PulseX on Ledger or Trezor? Yeah, 100%. Like, you. So who knows? Okay, so I don't know if Ledger will build out support of the PulseChain network right away, but something you can do, which is what I'm doing, is that I've connected my MetaMask to my Ledger or Trezor. So you don't have to wait for Ledger or Trezor to build out support for the PulseChain network. You can literally just if you go to my Discord, if you join our Discord, link for that down in the description below. And if you go to our security section, There's literally like a bunch of tutorials here telling you exactly how you can connect your MetaMask to a Ledger Trezor. And so you don't have to wait for Ledger Trezor to build out like support for PulseChain. You can literally today connect your MetaMask to your Ledger or Trezor and be able to use the PulseChain network once it goes live. So I highly suggest that you join our Discord, go to the security section here, and just listen to these tutorials because it'll tell you how to do that, which is what I've done. J-Man is saying it's going to be amazing when we're watching Pulse and PulseX go parabolic up at the same time. Absolutely. The Coin Critic is saying, yep, price chart gets it done, period. There's a freedom issue that is the true value in crypto. Peeps that don't understand miss this as value. Peeps that don't understand this miss this as valuable. No middleman is valuable more than some know. Absolutely. And so I think that goes to what are the elements of centralization and are they acceptable? Middlemen. Oh my goodness, I can't spell, folks. Admin keys. All right, so look, guys, this live stream is going on for like an hour, 40 minutes here. I think I'm gonna start to wrap it up here soon. I appreciate all you guys being here and your back and forth. I think you guys asked a lot of great questions. I think you guys had a lot of good stuff to say. Coin Critic, I think you've had a lot of good stuff to say. I'm gonna keep thinking about this. I'm gonna sit on and continue expanding this idea, continue hashing this out. Who knows? One day I might even turn this into a book or something, because I think people deserve to have just a list in front of them of what the fuck it takes to outperform the market. And so I want to keep thinking about this. I want to keep hashing this out further. And so, folks, look, I appreciate everyone being here. If you guys have any kind of final questions, final thoughts, now's the time to kind of throw it out there. Because if not, maybe we can start wrapping up here because we're kind of knocking on the door of 2 hours here. Always Rise is saying miss the T in centralization also. Don't worry about it, man. I can barely talk and barely spell, so it's all good, man. Jose is saying, so where do we toss our money at? I'm not a financial advisor, broski, but what I can tell you is that I'm aping the fuck into PulseChain and PulseX. What I'm doing. Oh, press the wrong thing there. Holy goodness. Gary J with the $20 e symbol. Thank you very much. I think that's bound. Thank you a lot, man. That's very, very generous of you. Appreciate that, man. Gary J is saying, thank you for putting in all the hard work and sharing your research with us. Keep up the good work. Man, you know, here's the thing. Like, if I'm right about this PulseChain thing, I'm already rich. I'm already retiring before I'm 25. At this point, I'm just concerned with, like, man, if I gotta be careful what I say because I don't want none of y'all to fucking come back and try to sue me. But like, I'll put it this way: it would be nice if I knew I helped other people do something similar, and so that's kind of why I do this. So I appreciate that, man. I appreciate all you guys. Yeah, because guys, look, if when PulseChain goes live, you know, I can just not ever do the channel again. I can just fuck off and go on just chill on the beach forever for the rest of my life, which who knows? I might actually end up doing that. But my point is I do this to also try and help other people. Because guys, like, again, I said this before, I'm saying it again, these things aren't trivial. It actually matters if you can improve the quality of life of someone. Like, not having to worry about money, being able to pay the bills, being able to pay off debts, loans, that dramatically improves the quality of someone's life. So that's not trivial. That's like an important thing. And so this stuff can help people do that. Like in crypto, you can either lose everything or you can make everything. And the consequences of that is impactful. It's real. It has real world consequences. So, yeah, man, appreciate that. Coin Critic is saying that part of the centralization discussion is about attracting the good, beneficial whale community, 100%. If on freedom based narrative, there are lots of freedom-minded whales that will support. 100%. Yeah, I agree. Narrative is incredibly important on multiple fronts. That's a very good point. So, right narrative. Very good point. Yeah, man. Yo, Coin Critic. Lots of good points during the stream, man. Right on. Always racing. LOL. Why are you so fresh and good looking? Man, it's just the way I was born. Okay, like again, I'm a human, right? Like try and look past looks. Just try and control yourself. Although again, I appreciate the compliment. Thank you. What about ApeCoin? I would definitely not ape into ApeCoin. Personally speaking, I just again, it's the total market trying to address. Who knows the size of it? It's not a proven concept. It's already let's see the valuation, see how high it is. It's full of whales willing to dump. Yeah, no, it's that fucking all-time highs. Yeah, would I ape into ApeCoin? Fuck no. Look at this. Look at this rejection off of push to all-time highs. Nah. Look, guys, something like this has the capability of even doing well over long term. But is this thing? Nah, fuck no, guys. I don't think too. Like, could this thing do well? Sure. But what are your other options? When you have something like PulseChain, literally the most fucking exciting thing in all of crypto, in my opinion, again, I have to be careful about how I phrase things. You're a madman if you invest in anything other than the best optional crypto. Like, guys, I find Cardano interesting. I find Solana interesting. I find Chainlink interesting. I'm not invested in them because I think there's a much better ROI option, which is PulseChain. So that's ultimately my answer. Gary J is saying $25. Thank you, Gary J, for that clarification. Because yeah, I appreciate the fancy E, but yes, that is $25. Thank you, man. Appreciate that. Say not financial advice. Not financial advice. Hey guys, I say that not because I want to say that, because I don't want like someone to come and like try and sue me after, right? So Jose Romero is saying, so where you put your, by the way, I'm not just making an accent, I'm Spanish, if you didn't know that, because I realize that might be like offensive. Yo soy español, so I can say the accent. But yeah, where are you putting your money? Not financial advice, man, but like I've said very publicly, often, is that I went all in on Hex, PulseChain, and PulseX, and we'll be buying more PulseChain and PulseX. Not financial advice. That is what I'm doing. Jose is saying, I missed your live chat. I'm at work, just getting out. Hey, man, no, we're live right now, bro. You made it. You're here. Thanks for the stream, man. Good live stream, by the way. I like the Moon watch you talked about before. Omega and Seiko has a huge following. Mix in some lower end watches, have fun with it. 100%, man. That's a very good point. And like, guys, look, this is something I've been debating because I really like the idea of buying a Rolex once I make $1 million. It's just something stupid, just something like a frivolous purchase, right? Like, it's obviously a poor financial decision on multiple fronts. I'll be selling a good asset, having to pay taxes. It's stupid. It doesn't make financial sense, but fuck it. Like, what's the point of making money if you can't enjoy life a little, right? So I'm kind of like debating buying a Rolex, like I said, but I really, really goddamn like the idea of potentially buying the Omega Moon watch instead. I believe this was like one of, if not the first watch on the moon, like the astronauts brought to the moon. And guys, this channel is called aMillionortheMoon. There's so much like, the meme in crypto is, you're trying to go to the moon. Like, how could I not get the fucking moon watch if I make $1 million? So I'm very torn. I don't know whether to go for the Rolex or the moon watch upon my first $1 million. Either way, I very much look forward to having that kind of dilemma and having that problem, because I very much am not in the position to have that problem as of today, although I know I will be when PulseChain goes live, because I've liquidated all my assets and sacrificed it all for PulseChain and PulseX. Like, guys, look, because I'm sure there's a couple of people who like don't know my story. Guys, I used to be in like in every different DeFi ecosystem. I used to have like 50 different altcoins at my peak, and I liquidated 99% of them. Like, I have like 2 things that like aren't PulseChain related right now. I liquidated all of them to put that money into PulseChain, PulseX, Liquid Loans, Power City, Internet Money. I'm fully staked out with Hex. I'm 100% staked out with an average stake length of like 10 and a half years. So my point is, like, I have like no liquid assets. Like 99% of my assets are all completely just locked up in like PulseChain, PulseX, and Hex. So until the shit goes live, your boy's struggling over here because I liquidated everything, sold the car, every trading account, every little thing that was staked, and all these different ecosystems, all of it liquidated. I went all in on one thing because I was like, guys, I finally found the one fucking thing that could probably do 100x and 1000x. I missed the opportunity with Hex, and I promised myself if I found another life-changing opportunity that I wouldn't miss it again. I wouldn't miss it again because I missed Hex. I actually knew about Hex 2 years ago, but I didn't go all in. And when Richard was like, I'm doing this again, not just once, but twice, I told myself, I'm not missing this opportunity again. I liquidated everything and went all in. And so, I think it'll pay off, but we'll see. Coin Critic saying, us watch people are fanatics. Dark Side of the Moon, watch Omega. Unbox and review Wenser. Oh, yeah. Oh, by the way, I love this one too with a leather strap. That's actually a good idea. Always raise this. Exactly. There are bad people out there that just try to get anything from anyone. Absolutely. Jen Hacks is saying, good stream, homie. Thank you very much. Top GRW saying, dumb question, but considering there will be thousands of people that might flood the market when PulseChain and PulseX are live to offload and take some profits, how would you protect against that? Oh, well, how do you protect against risk? One of the best things you can do to protect yourself against risk, specifically in crypto, is simply extend your investment time horizon. If you invest in something that isn't a rug pull, that will stay over the long term, like Bitcoin, for example. Let's say you bought, Bitcoin at all-time highs. Well, you're down now and you might be down for a while, but if you simply extend your investment time horizon in the next 5 years, the next Bitcoin halving is 2024, so the next bull market's like 2025. By 2025, you're very likely to be profitable again. And that rule can be extended into anything, simply like with Hex as well. Let's say you bought Hex at all-time high and you're down a lot. Well, if you think that Hex has longevity, which I think it does, if you buy something and it's down, well, you got to ask yourself, what's changed? Has the fundamentals changed, or has the psychology of the market changed, and now there's just more people selling than buying? If the psychology's changed and there's just more people selling than buying, well, we know that things are cyclical, and that's just a matter of time that it could change. Now, if the fundamentals have changed, then sure, maybe you just eat the loss and you sell and you recover what you can. Not financial advice. But if the fundamentals have stayed the same, then you just extend your time horizon. You just wait a year, you just wait 2 years, you just wait 3 years. Because in crypto, if you buy something of high quality with longevity and you're down, it is just a matter of time before it reaches ultimate highs and enterprise discovery once again. So one of the greatest things you can do to protect against risk is simply just extend your time horizon, right? Like, if you have to pay your bills at the end of the month, well, then maybe you got to figure something out. But if you can afford to wait a year, if you can afford to wait 3 years, then if what you're invested in has longevity, it's just a matter of time before you're profitable once again. Also, do you think there will be enough players/buyers that will come to the market to offset those sellers for Pulse? Yes, I'm betting on it. That's a pound symbol, by the way. I'm sure you were joking. Yes, guys, if you haven't noticed, cryptographics, I do joke. Yeah, I love the stream. So, guys, look. Thank you all so much for tuning in. Like and subscribe. Shout out to Cryptographics. Shout out to all you guys. Shout out to Gen Hacks. Guys, stay tuned. Like and subscribe. I will be streaming with Gen Hacks this Saturday as well. Messin will be there. So make sure you guys stay tuned for that. By the way, Gen Hacks, again, my apologies for the sarcasm, man. I was just hope you didn't mind me bringing that up again. I don't know if that was embarrassing. If anything, it's just embarrassing for me. So I just thought it was kind of funny on my end. So yeah, that's why I shared that. Folks, look, I'm gonna spare y'all and I'll wrap it up here, even though we could kind of delve further into this and I didn't even touch on this, but that's okay. We can save this for later. We touched on a lot on this live stream. So guys, I think it's a good live stream. Thank you all so much. I'll wrap it up here. And until next time, folks, take care.